Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, it's 5:49 at the moment, so 11 more minutes till I will be saying good evening. But regardless, it is good afternoon right now. This is going to be a what was it? I think it's a platinum level game. I can't remember, but diamond, platinum, gold, around that awesome 3 league play area thingy-bob. So down the bottom right side, we do have Red Zerg oLmA, who I believe I have cast a game of before, probably the one who's been uploading these replays. And on the top right, we have our blue Terran player, ArcticDrac. Yeah, I was going to make a Dracula reference there, but I am just not that good, I guess. Regardless, we'll see if he sucks or not at this game. Alright, that was horrible. Let's get back to the game now. Let's get the production tab up. So far he's putting down a supply depot there, presumably to block some sort of push in here. But what it's actually going to do is, I think it's going to cut off his harvesting this gas, although he can drop it down. So yeah, maybe it'll work. It's sort of blocking off something anyway. So maybe he doesn't. Yeah, maybe he's doing a pretty good job after all. Anyway, he's got the Diablo skull, which is pretty good. Although I suppose in his case you probably could say it's Dracula. Whatever. Let's get back to the Zerg player is not doing anything. He's already up to 15 harvesters. There he goes. He's getting his expansion down, and he is going to be building his expansion, which naturally follows after you actually put it down that you start building it. So yeah, that's going to be fine. I'm still not sure why this drone is still going. Did he scout this guy already? No, he didn't. How did he not scout this guy? I assume he did scout this guy. He didn't see any buildings. Maybe he saw an SCV, but why is he still going around? Did he He assumes that the Terran player is going to be building stuff on the front of his base right up here. So he's only checking the start. And now he's like, oh, he's got to be here. Wait a sec, he's not here. So he's going to be very, very confused. He's probably thinking there's some kind of a crazy lifting off the command center onto the gold, even though there is no gold in this base, sort of build going on. But in fact, he just didn't scout hard enough. So that drone is probably going to be shot or speared by the Queen or something by the time it gets back, because the Queen's going to be like, alright dude, what's going on? So where's the Terran base? And the drone's going to be like, I don't think this Terran's actually on the map. I think we came down here because there was a Terran threat, but I couldn't find a base. I mean, I looked around and I looked here and I looked there, and there's no Terran base. And the Queen's like, you got to be shitting me. Alright, the bloody Overmind said there was a Terran base right here. He said there was going to be some sort of Terran expansion and we should go down and wipe them out, and you're going to sit there and tell me that there's no freaking Terran base on this entire map. And the drone's like, yeah, I'm sorry, but I looked around, I did my very best at looking around. I looked over here and I looked over there, and I couldn't find a base. And did you want me to go look again? And the Queen's like, no, you're freaking incompetent, okay? I'm going to turn you into a spine crawler, because that's all you're good for, and you'll probably end up hitting me in the ass because you're going to be such a shit spine crawler. But anyway, these Zerglings are going to come out and they're going to scout the proper base, and they'll show you exactly how it's done. And that's exactly what they've done here. They've scouted out the base. They've seen the 3 barracks coming up by now. They've seen all this other stuff, so they did it properly. And they are going to know that the Terran player is going for some sort of marine marauder-ish sort of push thing going on. But that's alright, because the Zerg player does have his expansion coming up here. Does have a roach warren coming up, so with a decent amount of roaches he is going to be able to withstand this marine pressure fairly well. I'm not sure about whether he's getting marauders. I assume he's going to, but he's only getting marines at the moment. He's a little bit gas starved at the moment. He's going for upgrades, he's going for stims, and he's going for a factory, so that certainly explains why he's gas starved. And of course, not mining off the second gas is probably going to be bad. That Marine got a beautiful creep tumor kill now. That's 20 energy. That Queen is just never going to get back. It is just completely gone out the window. So they're 10-15 minutes into this game. That Queen's still going to be, you know what, we're kicking ass here. But that creep tumor, that 25 energy, I mean, these things can make or break a game when you get right down to it. Now these guys are they're in Platinum League, so it's possible, not extremely likely, but possible that that extra creep tumor could have saved the game. However, in Grandmasters League, Masters League, I mean, in the end of a tournament, it's almost 100% certainty that losing that creep tumor could lead to the end of a the win-lose could depend entirely on that creep tumor at the end of the game. His creep's going to get not quite far enough out here. He could have Lings chasing a massive amount of tanks. He's got 3 tanks with like next to no health left, and he's going to run out of creep just as he's able to take him out. He's going to keep chasing, but then the siege tanks up on the cliff are just going to wipe him out, and the tanks are going to go away with like 2 health, and he's like, if I had that extra creep tumor, I would have taken out those tanks, and those tanks later on get dropped into the main of this base and they just wipe out everything. He's lost all his workers, and all he can say is that goddamn creep tumor let me down. Of course, at the moment, it's this massive amount of Marines that are going to be letting him down. Now, this is a very ballsy attack from the Terran player because he's relying on Stim to do a lot of that damage. However, Stim does take away your health, and without medevacs, those guys just did not do all that well. I think he was following in with some more Marines, but the roaches are out now. They're all over the place. They're big, they're very scary, and they shoot green shit all over the place. So once there's a fair amount of them, the Marines are not one to go anywhere close to them. These guys are going to stim in, maybe get some sort of scout off. This Marine's like, holy shit, I just managed to get away from those other roaches, except all he managed to get out was holy she, because then a bunch more roaches actually came and just wiped him out. So he was looking very, very happy, or at least very relieved, for about a good half second, 3/4 of a second there, and then of course the next batch of roaches came out and just wiped the floor with him. But anyway, pretty good game going on. We've got level 2 weapons coming out for these guys. They've already got, no, they haven't even got any armor upgrades at the moment. They're just going for level 2 weapons, so they're going to not last that long, but they're going to do a lot of damage, and I don't think they're going to be all that good against this amount of roaches. The roaches already have 1 armor, so they're going to be very durable, and there's only 1 marauder, so I think they should do very well here. So we'll have to see what the Terran can do against these guys. I may be able to attack him, maybe able to take the roaches, but my money is on these roaches at the moment, unless a couple more marauders come out. See, if he gives time for 2 or 3 more marauders to come out, then these roaches are going to be in trouble. And it looks like they're just going to play it safe, just going to back up. And I don't think he was actually trying to attack anything there. He was just doing a feint in, keep the Terran on his back toes, because if you look at the production tab up there, while those roaches are running back, he was building 12 drones. That's right, you heard me correctly. That's 12 drones at once. That is a stupidly large amount of drones to be building at one time, and he just went ahead and did it. And it was because of that feint that he did in there that he was able to do that, because he's a lot more comfortable with the idea of the Terran not moving in straight away, because the Terran's thinking, oh, he's probably going to start building up keep building up roaches, keep building up the pressure, so it's probably not going to be that good to do a push in with all these guys. Now that feeling is going to go away after a few minutes. He's going to start thinking about doing a push, and by that time the Zerg is going to need something to deal with that, because he built all those drones and he's not taking up the roaches anymore. So he is outnumbered at the moment, and he really needs to have a plan right now to deal with these guys. The Hydra nest is nearly up, so if he can get 4 or 5 Hydras out by the time these forces reach here, I don't know if he's able to do it. I'm thinking not, but if he manages to do it, then he should be in a pretty good shape. There we go, 9 Hydralisks coming out. He needs to hold out until these Hydras show up. If he can do that, he's going to be in an excellent state. But the question is, will he be able to hold out? And how much is he going to lose while he's waiting for those Hydralisks? And he looks like he is going to lose his Roach army. The Hydras are 3/4 done. This hatchery is going to go down 100%. The drones are going to run out. These Hydras popping out of there are going to die, just because they're too close to the army. He's going to group up the rest here. He's going to group them all up, run them all in. However, even these 7 Hydras, 8 Hydras, whatever, I'm not sure if they can do the damage they need. There are a lot of stims going down on the Terran army though, and I think that's what did it. Too many stims, and he had a bunch of roaches, I think, popped out here, and he burrowed them to keep them alive while the Hydras were setting up. But once the Hydras went in and started doing the damage, the Roaches popped up. He had a beautiful pincer attack on that very low health, very stimmed up Terran army. Now he's got to get this hatchery back up again, but right now he's got 3 coming on 4 bases compared to the Terran's 2 coming on 3, and the Terran is going to have a lot of problems defending this base. So it all comes down, I think, to whether or not the Zerg knows this base is here. The Zerg knows this base is here. He's going to take it out very easily and buy himself quite a large advantage. You can see level 2 armor coming up now for the Zerg forces. These guys have got 1 attack, 1 armor so far, so I would not be surprised to see him go for level 2 attack in a matter of seconds, if not minutes. The Terran player has 2 attack, no armor. He's going for 3 attack. This is just absolutely amazing. He's going for massive amounts of attack, no defense at all. And I will see if this works out, but I'm not sure if it will, because I mean, Hydras, you saw how fast the Hydras took out these guys, and that is a lot because of the fact that he's got no armor. And I really don't see any good reason why he doesn't get another NG Bay down and just start pumping up the armor, because I really think it would benefit him quite a lot at this point. But here we go, he's got a couple of medevacs down, he's got another scary Terran army coming up. He might get there by the time the upgrade is done, he might get there sooner. But regardless, I think he's going to do a lot of damage. However, this Zerg army is going to do pretty good. 2 armor and 1 attack, so they're going to last quite long. They've got a fair amount of Hydras. And look at it, they're just ripping through this front line. All these Marines. So if the Marauders are doing the damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Marines hit the Roaches, the Marauders hit the Roaches, nobody hit the Hydras, and the Hydras hit everything. And that's the thing, that's the entire purpose of the Roaches. You can see they're 10 kills from that Hydra. So these guys are just doing so much good work for the Zerg army. And that's the beauty of the Roach Hydra. The Roaches take all the damage. You can see the health, 145, plus they've got 1 base armor on top of the whatever they get from upgrades. Hydras have 80 health, so that's almost half. And they haven't got any base armor, so they've just got the stuff they upgrade. So they bloody get wiped out so fast. Even a group of Marines take them out without too much worries, but they do so much damage, it's just completely stupid. If we have a look at the Roaches, he's doing 18 damage every 2 seconds, whereas the Hydras are doing 13 every 0.83. So I am actually good at maths, but doing this in my head is starting to make my head hurt. So let's just say it's approximately 2 times the damage that a Roach does, and the range is of course a fair bit higher, so that's 5 range as compared to 4, and that's approximately the same as a Marine. So if we have a look, where are the Marines? They're all in the bloody dropships. You bastards, get out there so I can check your range, you useless pricks. Okay, I'm swearing a little bit too much now, but that's fine, it's all good fun. I suppose the Marauders have a range of 6, the Marines have a range of 5, so the Terran army naturally is going to outrange the Zerg army. But the Hydras, I mean 5 is not as bad, so they're still going to be doing quite well. We've got some Vipers coming out. There's not a huge tank presence on the map. There's not a huge Thor presence on the map, so I assume that these guys are either anticipating a tank presence, or they're just going to go for the acidy cloud thing. And I forgot the name of this when I was doing my huge Viper Madness video. I just couldn't remember. I am going to go ahead and look right now. I apologize for a sec, we are going to pause this game. Oh, that's not what I want. God damn it, I always hitting the wrong bloody thing. Where's the F1 key, sorry? F1, I hit you and you go into help. That's not the help, that's the message log. There we go, there's the help. Alright, so Zerg units. Where's the Viper? Please excuse me for my not knowing what this ability is called. Blinding Cloud. Attack range of ground units, so there we go. So Blinding Cloud. I was calling it Acid Cloud, and whatever, it's close enough. I'll probably forget about Blinding Cloud in a few minutes and just call it Acid Cloud, but that's fine. He's already got the Evo Chamber set up, so that's going to be the I've forgotten what that other ability is, but we'll just call it the Green Suck for now. So he's got the Green Suck going on these Evo Chambers, and that builds up the energy of these Vipers. Now he's completely sucked that Evo Chamber up, but that's fine. And oh ha ha ha, it's supposed to be the blue player who's supposed to be doing the sucking, but it appears there's the red Zerg that's actually doing the sucking. Oh, I am absolutely hilarious. Yeah. Alright, back to the game. So we've got a shitload of medevacs coming home. And we've got some locusts coming out to provide some good interference. These guys are going to go in and do a lot of damage. There we go, blinding cloud. The Terrans are going to run out of there. Hydras are going to chase them, but that's fine. So that's a very good deterrent for these guys. So it does reduce the range of all those guys, and the Terran relies on his range so much against Roach Hydra. It is not going to be good for him to have reduced range. That ability is actually quite devastating against tanks. You manage to get around and flank the Terran army and cast that on tanks, and you can just molest the Marines and the Marauders to your heart's content. It's just absolutely obscene what you can do to those guys while the tanks have got the blinding cloud on them. And I got the ability to aim right, so that's awesome. So we've got this third base coming up here. That's, well, when I say coming up, I mean it's been there for a while. We've got the fourth base coming up there, so we have a look at the income tab. Zerg player is ahead, but it's not by a huge margin. This base is doing quite well. He's got this base starting up now. I think he's mostly getting all these minerals from mules, and his gas is quite a bit behind as well. If we have a look at the... This guy must know about this expansion. This overlord, this overseer is just... He's just doing an absolutely crap house job. It's like, what is that, tortoise and the hare bloody fairy tale story where the rabbit gets like 99% and just falls asleep at the end of the track. The finish line's right there, and he's just like, no, I'll go have a nap right next to the finish line. That's basically what this stupid overseer is doing. He's so close to scouting this out, but he's just like, you know what, I really can't be stuffed, I'm just going to take a nap here. Maybe he knows about it. God knows there's been so many bloody workers just flying past, and I'm so sorry, I keep getting distracted from the important things such as the major battles, and I think he lost everything, so that was probably important. I probably should have been paying attention, but the goddamn there we go. Finally scouts it out, you lazy little bastard. There we go. It's a bit of a scan, rolling back the creep, which is always a very important job for the Terran player. Some people may think, creep, who gives a shit? But if you're going against, you have to remember that all Zerg units move a lot faster on creep. And if you're going against stuff like Banelings and Zerglings, then whether you're on creep or not can mean the difference between your army dying and your army wiping out everything. So just remember that. We've still got these guys providing interference over here, but the Terran army has moved along. And of course creep gives you vision, so I mean, the Zerg player automatically sees everything on the creep. So he knows exactly what's going on. These guys are going in, they're just going for a bit of a scout. Maybe I think they grouped up with the Marines, so the Marines took the long way around and the medevacs took the short way around. That's fine. This is a stupendously good placement there. However, moving the Marines back this way was not a good idea. He should have kept the Marines in there providing interference while he let the tanks do all the damage. He was possibly anticipating the blinding cloud being used on the tanks, so he decided to run them away. However, he is going to lose all of his units there, except for that bloody medevac who just went whoosh and just pissed off like really fast, and that was, that was pretty sweet. So look at these Hydras, 3 armor, 2 attack. They're just completely awesome. Vipers have no upgrades, but that's not, all that misunderstandable or whatever. 3 attack, 2 armor for the Terran ground forces. These mutas are going to come in, going to cause massive amounts of damage. These workers are going to run, but I see at least a half to 2/3 of them getting destroyed. It's good pick up the medevac, taking that out. Otherwise the drones might have loaded up into it, but there we go. The mutas are going to take a lot of these guys out. Marine force coming down, and this should drive the mutas off. There they go. So he lost maybe 10, 12 drones there, and that's very bad. I don't think he has enough to take out the command center, but he can snipe off these gas, and I mean, why not? Extra kill, who cares? So you can see a massive amount of Hydralists at the moment, and the Terran player knows this, so he's got to push the tanks. He has got to push the tanks here. He needs about 10 tanks here, and he needs a decent enough ground army to actually stop the goddamn stinking useless bastard Hydralists from getting within range of these tanks. So he's got the Marines, and that should be good. He also needs to worry about the Vipers. I would not at all be upset to see some Vikings come out to start harassing those Vipers. Not even to wipe them out, just to start hitting the damn things, so the Zerg's like, oh shit, is hitting my Vipers, maybe I should just get them the hell out of here for now and not worry about sniping the tanks out. Which is, you know, it's something that definitely needs to be worried about. So, I mean, yeah, definitely got to get those units out. The Zerg player has got so much more army at the moment. However, he is wasting a lot of it on swarm hosts. And when I say wasting, I mean, swarm hosts are a nuisance. They're just a little annoying bit of crap on the back of your hand that doesn't really hurt you, but it still just annoys you the entire time. If you use them absolutely awesomely, if you got like a best Grandmaster Zerg player in the game, he could probably use those to really good effect by providing a buffer in between his Hydra and Viper army, but they're so slow at producing the units, and the units die relatively quickly, it's just going to be bad. And that was bad by the Terran player. He sieged up those tanks far too close, and just, he did not have the buffer zone between those tanks and the Vipers with the Marines in between. And really, it's extremely hard, nigh impossible, to push forward with a bunch of tanks. Once you see the creep, you got to siege up your tanks around this area, get the Marines a bit closer, and you got to kind of bait the Zerg into hitting you. You've got to, first of all, this is not that good, a way of doing it, because the Vipers can flank from the left hand side. If your Marines are down here, you've got this hook that cuts them off from intercepting the Vipers, so that's bad. You've got to have a bit more of an open area if you're going to try and do this. Now, if he was against Banelings and Zerglings, I would say fair enough. This is a beautiful place for doing it. You're going to bottleneck the Lings somewhat in here. You still want the tanks back a little bit, but the Marines here is fine. You're going to bottleneck them a little bit. They can't flank you as easy. It could go all the way around and flank here, and all the way around and flank here, but that's a bit of a pain of an ass. So if you moved them all in here, that's a great bottleneck. Tanks are doing awesome damage. He's not going against tanks, he's going against Hydras. These guys do a massive amount of damage even if they are bottlenecked. I mean, this is more than wide enough for a Hydralisk attack to go on. And the tanks are just too close. The Vipers got in, pulled them back out, and the Hydras just completely annihilated them. And the Vipers managed to do that because the Terrans didn't have enough buffer zone between the tanks and the army for the Marines to get in there and to start hitting the Vipers, to shrug them off before they could go and get the tanks out. And, I mean, fair play to the Terran player. Vipers are still a new unit in Heart of the Swarm. They've only been around for like 2 months now, and people are still learning how to deal with them. And they're very tricky to deal with. They just jump in there, and boom, suddenly you've lost 3 tanks. It's extremely hard to deal with. And that is exactly why I'd say more space between the tanks. You've got to go from a bit more defensive sort of build, get yourself that buffer zone between the Vipers and between the tanks, and let your Marines run free. And for good measure, have some Vikings. Like, if your Marines are here and your tanks are up there, have some Vikings up here. Not close enough so the Hydras can start, sniping them, but close enough so that they do a fair bit of damage to the Vipers. And of course, the Vipers can always snatch the Vikings over here and the Hydras can destroy them. And I say, you know what, that's fine. Because Vikings are a bit cheaper than tanks. And tanks are 125 gas, Vikings are 75 gas. So it's 50 less gas, and that makes them quite a bit cheaper. Vikings are a bit easier to produce as well. They don't need the tech lab, they just need a reactor. And basically you need the tanks to take out this Hydra army. Without the tanks, the Hydras will just wipe you out. So you need to keep those tanks alive. I mean, Vikings, they're a bit more expendable, and if the Vipers choose to use their pull attack on the Vikings, then that's energy down the drain for the Vipers. So if we have a look, oh god, it doesn't tell me the energy cost of these abilities. I don't know exactly how much that costs. Given how low these guys are, I'm going to say they used it probably twice, maybe one time each. So if we say it takes 125 energy, what we're going to do is we're going to shift back a little bit and just see how much energy that actually takes, because I am quite interested in that. Might be a little bit too much, but we'll speed it up. Okay, alright. Speed up to ×8. Go build those guys. We'll wait till the tanks start laying down their siege mode right over there. I realise I'm actually pointing with my finger at the screen instead of with the cursor, so over there approximately. Alright, so let's slow it down. Actually slow it down to normal speed just for the hell of it. Viper has 200 energy. Use that ability. Okay, so what we've learned there is that it takes 75 energy for those guys to do a yank. So this guy, he actually shift clicked it, and one of the Vipers actually did it twice because he went down to 50 energy. This guy did it once, he went down 125 energy, so it's 75. So they can do 2 in a row, which means, I'll just start this actually back up again so we can watch the end of this. Which means that a Viper can yank a Viking out of the air and then come back and do it again. Pretty much. But, I mean, the Vipers are probably still, you know, I would say they're probably more expensive than the Vikings. How much do these damn things cost? You're not going to tell me, are you? You bastard. Wait, do they... Zerg Tech Tree, is this going to tell me? No, it's not going to tell me. You bastard. Alright, we're going to go. We're going to do this. No! Damn it, I hate this. Alright, I'm going to guess that they cost more gas than the Vikings. So, yeah, using... yeah, I'd say it's probably... You could probably still get away with getting the Vikings. But, I mean, think about it. If you've got 10 Vikings or something, that's not an unreasonable number. 10 Vipers probably is getting up to an unreasonable number. That's probably quite a lot of gas invested in those guys. So I'd say Vikings are probably a pretty good option for the Vipers. And of course the Vikings have a very long range, so they'd be able to hit the Vipers at about the same time they'd be able to get in range of the siege tanks. And about 6 or 7 Vikings could probably destroy a Viper in a couple of volleys. So you might be able to yank the tanks, but you'd probably lose half your Vipers doing it. So I'd say Vikings, definitely a good option. Marines probably can't do fast enough damage to kill those guys just as they're ducking in and out, but I reckon Vikings can. But anyway, this is the end of our game between oLmA and ArcticDrac. And I suppose it was I don't suppose, it was a very well played game. And is this actually part of the barracks, or is this just some weird flashy circle that belongs there? I'm really not sure. Let's go look at this Terran's base. It's got nothing there. It's got nothing there. I really not sure why that's big and flashy. Is it just me? Is this... It must be a part of the design on the map. It must, but there's no... Oh, there was one. I looked here before and there wasn't one. Did I look in the wrong place? Am I going nuts? There's one here as well. Just... Oh, whatever. Screw it. I'm done with this game. Am I still recording? Have I forgotten to record? Has Fraps crashed again?